Welcome to No One Tells You This. I'm Laura Massetti. Most of us are taught that if you work hard enough and do the right things, growth follows. What nobody tells you is that growth has a leverage problem, and most people never find it. Today's guest has spent his career finding it, fixing it, and building a firm that only gets paid when it actually does. Stephen Solademi, welcome.
Thank you. Good to be here, Laura.
Stephen is a founder of SOS Creativity Group, a Manchester-based performance firm that has helped Spotify e-commerce brands and direct-to-consumer, otherwise people call it DTC, founders generate over £120 million in revenue. He works exclusively on a performance basis. Growth comes first, payment follows. Over the course of building SOS Creativity Group, he has led multiple acquisitions, built and integrated teams, and developed a very clear point of view that separates brands that plateau from brands that compound. He is here because this audience needs to hear what he has figured out and what it actually took to figure it out. Stephen, let's get started there.
I'm looking forward to this.
So before we get into anything else, there's a lot of people that within their own world are trying to figure out what they want to do with their life. Can you give us a perspective of your career, how you got started, how you got to be where you are today?
Absolutely. I mean, the career really started from the age of 14. So when I was 14 years old, I moved to England, and it was then I taught myself how to develop websites. And then fast forward to 24 years old, I started the agency, SOS Creativity, and it just evolved from there. So 10 years of, if you call it, the wilderness of learning and honing your skills and things of that nature. And then, next year marks 10 years as a full-time entrepreneur. So another 10 years of figuring out what this entrepreneurial journey is all about. So that's where the career started ultimately. It started as a passion, it started self-taught, it started as a willingness to learn and ability and capability to be able to do things better. And I just wasn't scared of jumping into the deep end with both feet and seeing what we can do. So, and as they say, the rest is history. So that's where everything began from.
I love that. I love that. And just for some background, where I know Stephen is we were both part of a course at the Imperial College of London. Stephen was a complete overachiever. I was not. So tell me a little bit, because I stress this, but this is one of the classes that I didn't follow through with as well as I should have. What's the importance of learning throughout this whole period for you of your career growth?
I think learning is the first step. The implementation of what you've learned is the next big and most important step. So I'm a huge advocate of learning. To give you a bit more context, I used to brag about being the person that went through university, got a first degree in computing and web development, and never read any book in my life. However, since starting business at 24 years old, from the age of 27, I've been reading anywhere from 36 to 52 business books a year. So I did a complete 180 because I understood the importance of learning, and then more importantly, I understood the importance of implementing what you learn in as quick of a manner as possible. So learning is everything, because if you learn, you're going to find out people have already made the same mistakes you're about to make. So why make the exact same mistake when you can learn from them? There are people with so many experiences where you can, as the saying goes, rest on the shoulders of giant, right? You can learn from their worldview, you can learn from their experience, and then crystallize it into your own thing to then move forward with what you're trying to achieve. So yeah, learning is very good, but what's even better is implementing what you've learned.
Yeah, yeah. It's interesting because now in the world of AI, we have this very quick, you do something, you want a very quick reward of getting that return back. But I agree with you. There's something to be learned through the pain of it, and it just allows you to implement it even better. So how have you put that into practice in your own business that you built?
That's a very good question. So I have this philosophy of whatever I learn, I know I'm never going to be able to implement everything. However, if I can implement 1 to 3 things in as short of a space of time as possible, then I'm going to be just fine, because the compounding effect of just keep moving forward, putting one foot in front of the other and progressing often just means when you look back over a long period of time, where you were versus where you are going to be two completely different things. So part of the way I've put that into the business is like the course that we met on, right? So as soon as that course finished, I did a couple of deals very very quickly because I before I jumped on the course, I was I was interested in mergers and acquisitions, and I just wanted to crystallize my knowledge. And as soon as I got the knowledge, I was able to distill that into my own framework, into like a list of bullet points, and go, okay, you do this, then you do this, then you do this, then you do this, then you do this. And very quickly, when I was looking at deals, I was able to revert back to those lessons and then leverage some of what was learned into the deals I'm doing. So my philosophy is learn and then implement and then keep moving forward.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's really great. So tell me a little bit more for those that don't know your world so well. What do you do at SOS Creativity?
That's a good question. So SOS Creativity Group is a group of marketing agencies dedicated to helping our clients be seen so that they can be chosen. In marketing, we have this philosophy called guaranteed growth. Guaranteed growth is the marketing disciplines that most businesses should be doing in order to see results. And what that looks like is performance marketing, creative marketing, traditional marketing, and systemic marketing. So within the group, we have different specialist agencies that is capable of servicing clients in those marketing domains. So by putting these agencies together, we can support our clients whether they need one thing or whether they need multiple things.
I really love that because I think that there is such a need to be a niche within marketing because each function has its own value, but there's a lot of things that you do need to shop out and you go to different folks to do that. And it's nice that you've kind of created this umbrella effect where there's options on how to engage with you with one niche. And I'm sure there's value in doing multiple for sure. But what I want to take this to right now is that you talk a lot in your posts. You're really great on social. I love what you're putting out there, and
Thank you.
you're definitely a thought leader in all things e-commerce and marketing and otherwise. But you had mentioned that most e-commerce founders don't have a traffic problem. They have a leverage problem. Can you tell me a little bit more on what you mean by that?
That's a good question. You've done your research for sure. So what I meant by not a traffic problem and a leverage problem is the fact that when you look at a lot of e-commerce brands, especially the ones that have been going a few years, and if you dig into their analytics and if you dig into their platform, what you start to see is they have a steady flow of people landing on their website, whether that's through organic means, whether that's through paid channels, whether that's through, say, for example, their social media or leveraging influencer marketing, you name whatever way they're bringing people onto their site, they're getting people onto their website. However, when you dig in deeper, you can see, so for example, some of the sites that I've looked at when I did an audit, you can see that their conversion ratio is extremely low. In some places, their website is converting at like 0.25%. Now, naturally, you think, I need more people to the website so that I can make more sales. I need to bring more people. I need to bring more people. But the reality is, if you just do the work to increase your conversion ratio, aka leverage, if you leverage what you've already got, the existing traffic, and you just make some tweaks to then take that conversion ratio from, say, 0.25% to, if you can get it to even 1%, for example, the goal is you want to get to 3, 4, 5% and above. But if you can get it to 1%, from 0.25 to 1%, that's 4 times. With the same level of traffic that you're getting, you are now seeing a much better result because you've been able to leverage your platform and the audience that you have without spending more money to bring more people in, without worrying about bringing more people in from different channels, just by looking at what you've already got and then doing the work to make that conversion better by just leveraging the different softwares and the different techniques. There's a technique called CRO, conversion rate optimization, where you make certain tweaks and changes so that when people come, they land, they stick, and then they convert. Just by making those subtle changes, you can then leverage what you've got existing before you then worry about, now I need to fill in fill the tap in with more people. That's example of how e-commerce brands and more business owners in general can leverage what they've got in order to generate more result for themselves.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, what you say is spot on with the focus on conversion. It's hard to do that, I think, at the beginning, especially when you're building up a really quick brand and you see those followers, you see those hits to your website, and you're like, this is great. This means I'm doing something right. But at the end of the day, if they're not converting, then you're not growing, right? And by working with a firm like yourself, it's those tweaks that really take time, take thought, take planning, that make all the difference.
100%. 100%.
So I absolutely love your model around getting paid when your clients win. So tell me a little bit more about that because there's not many people out there that are doing that, and I think it makes all the difference between standing behind what you're doing and what you sell.
100%. So when I looked at it, there was a pivotal moment in the business where I was auditing ourselves and go, how can we be different, right? How can we support our clients and help them win, but then stand out at the same time, but then at the same time help the business grow? And one of the ideas that I came up with was I looked at the industry. Most people in marketing talk about marketing. Most people in marketing want you to pay for their technicalities and expertise and so on. But there is a big disconnect because the customer ultimately just want to be seen and be chosen. They just want more business for themselves. So I had this idea of, well, why don't we put our money where our mouth is? Meaning, if we say we're really good at this service, well, why don't we demonstrate it by getting paid on the back end, right? So I put together this performance campaign where we will support certain type of clients. It's not for everybody because not everybody is able to qualify for this. But we will support certain type of clients where we say to them, okay, we look at your business, we understand what you're trying to do. Rather than paying a flat rate high retainer where you don't even know if you're going to get result or not, we will work with you on a performance basis. We will implement the marketing activities, and what we would do is we would agree a set percentage of the revenue that our services generate. And from the back of that, based on that agreement, when you see the result, you're paying us the revenue share that we've agreed, and then everybody win. Now, we only get paid when we deliver result. We know we only get paid when we deliver results. So guess what? Everybody wins. It holds us accountable. It keeps us honest, and then it keeps you protected. That you're not just paying thousands and thousands without understanding A, what work is being done, and B, more importantly, what impact that work is having. So that's where that idea came from. And yeah, we've just been developing that ever since. We've been building a few more tools around it because when you come up with an idea like that, it sounds great and it can work, but it can also be disastrous. So there's two sides to that coin. And when you start seeing some of the challenges that great idea brings, then you can plug the gap and then you can refine it even better and move it forward.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think that you've built a great structure. And it just tells me that you believe in what you're doing because most people out there don't do that. And there's a reason for that. So anyways, I want to switch gears a little bit and kind of pivot back into how you've grown your business as much as you have. And I know you have quite a big team at this point that I'm sure that you're really proud of. So tell me how that is as far as you building their team. What do you look for in the people that you hire along the way?
That's a powerful question. And I'll preface this by saying, when I started a business, I had actually never managed anyone directly. So like I said, I started a business at 24 years old. I'd never been a manager, quote unquote, all these leadership skills and all of that kind of stuff. It's something that I've had to develop along the way. So with hindsight, over now almost 10 years of doing this, over almost a decade of doing this, the key thing I look for when I'm recruiting is I'm looking for certain core values, but then more importantly, I'm looking for how resourceful this person is. Because someone who is naturally resourceful is going to figure it out. They might not necessarily be the best at the skill, but if they've got the right core values and they've got that resourcefulness, they will find a way to make it work. And sometimes that person is far more valuable than someone who's got the master's degree and the high quote unquote credibility to say, oh, look at me, I've done this, I've done that, I can walk in and do this. But fundamentally, they're lazy. They think their reputation will carry them. Someone who's hungry, who's determined, who's passionate, and who's resourceful, in my opinion, will eat that person's lunch any day of the week. So the key thing that I'm looking for is, are their principles aligning with my principles and the business's principles? Do they have that level of ingenuity and resourcefulness? And if they do, more often than not, they tend to be a great match.
Yeah. I like to call that grit.
Yes, that's a good word for it. Yeah.
I like that word. I think that fire in your belly is more important than anything else. And it's a balance, because I'm with you. I don't think that you need all of the education and whatnot, but I do think you need to be really curious and want to learn. And how you want to learn can vary from whatever your background is, whatever you want to do, but you need to be curious and you need to want to learn is a big part of that.
100%, yeah.
So let's okay. I want to pivot for a second and go back to, you were mentioning you started a business at 24, which if you're a 24-year-old, sometimes it's hard to imagine having everything figured out and even knowing what to do to start that feat. So tell me a little bit more on your journey. What gave you that push and how did you get started?
When I started at 24, I started out of belief. So my old thing for pushing me from employee into entrepreneurship was, fundamentally, at my core, I believed things could be done better. I believed that businesses could and should be seeing better result for the marketing investment that they're spending, right? I had the skill set, I had the knowledge, and then I just had the drive to go, do you know what? I'm gonna go do this. I didn't realize that was what entrepreneurship was, to be honest, when I started. It was just more, things aren't being done right. I know how to do it better. Why not just do it, right? Why not support people? That's ultimately how we started. But when I look back at my life, I'm what people would define as a natural entrepreneur. What I mean by that is, when I came to England at 14 years old, like I said, in school, I was the kid that was selling things in school. I was selling sweets, I was selling biscuits, I was selling chocolates, drinks, I was selling hats, like you name it, I was selling it. And there was a time, a year after I started my business, one of my teachers invited me back to the secondary school that I attended and wanted me to give a keynote speech to motivate like the people who are about to graduate, because I came from that school and I have a business, etc., etc. And she reminded me that there was a headphone that I had sold her in school that it only just broke and just got rid of it about a year prior. And I was like, oh, wow. Like, I knew I was bold and brave enough to sell to students, other kids in school. I didn't realize I was actually selling to teachers back then. So when you look back along that journey, it's no surprise that I am now, quote unquote, a full-time entrepreneur, a business owner, etc. But I didn't know that. It was just more, I see something, I see a problem, I see a challenge, and A, I have the ability to do it, or B, I go learn about doing it, and then I just go, well, things could be done differently, things could be done better, so let's just do it. And that's how the journey kind of begun.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And it's in your DNA, right? So what advice would you give to young people that are looking to do that on their own now, that share in those qualities and those sentiments?
If you're sharing those qualities, I think the first thing is become self-aware. What I mean by that is go audit yourself. Like, you can even use AI. Speak to your favorite artificial intelligence and go, I want to I want to become more self-aware. I want to self-audit myself. Give me a list of 30 questions that I should be asking myself to help me find out more about myself. AI will give you those questions, and then sit down by yourself and answer that question. When you're able to answer those questions, you find out more about yourself. Now, when you do that, you will realize one of two things. You're cut out for this, or you're not cut out for this. If you're not cut out for this, that's not a problem. That's actually a great thing, because it means you're not going to waste years of your life thinking you're cut out for something that you're not cut out for. So you can actually move to the lane that is going to be more beneficial for you. And then the other side is, if you are cut out for it, then that gives you more belief in yourself that, listen, this is it. There is no plan B. This is what I'm about. Therefore, the next step is, what is the idea that you have? What are you trying to solve? And get started. What resources do you need? I'm a big fan of YouTube Academy. I always say 80% of everything I know in my life has come from me just learning from somebody who's good at it on YouTube for free. Yes, there are things that I've paid for to learn, and yes, there are masterclasses and accelerator programs that I've been a part of since, but the fundamental baseline to be able to do what I've been able to do has come from YouTube Academy. So once you figure out that that's your lane, then you go onto YouTube, you start searching. Who are the entrepreneurs that you admire? Who are the people that you want to model your success around? Who are the people doing the things that you would want? Who are the people that are living the life you would want your life to look at? Be realistic. I'm not talking about the Instagram bros and girlies of the private jet lifestyle and the Maserati every day and the Lamborghini every other day. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about real people who are successful, who are living the actual life that you want, and then start learning from them. And then, like I said earlier on, once you learn, start implementing. The most important thing is to implement. You have that idea. You have a problem you want to solve. You now know that this is what you're cut out for. You find people to learn from, and then you start implementing that. When you follow that pattern, it's only a matter of time before you get to where you want to get to.
That's really profound. And I like that what you said at the beginning of that was, you can see if it's for you or not. And I think that there is this glorification around entrepreneurship, but the fact is that it's not for everyone. You can be equally as satisfied in your life, happy with not doing that. And so maybe it's good to share, like, what are the cons of entrepreneurship, because those are very those are very real.
There are many cons. When people ask me about entrepreneurship, I actually try and steer people away from entrepreneurship, because real entrepreneurs can't be steered away from entrepreneurship. So if I can steer you away, that's probably a good thing, because it probably isn't ingrained into you. But if I do my best to steer you away and you keep coming back, then you have a serious chance of making it a success. But
that's the gut check.
That is the gut check. In terms of the cons, oh my God, where do I start? I mean, for the first 5 years of the business, I hardly paid myself anything. I was living off my savings and credit card savings, which ran out very, very quickly. And then the personal debt just kept mounting, because I've got this vision of this business that I'm trying to build, and I'm trying to reinvest everything into the business to help it grow. Like, I was working 5 times more than I was as an employee, and getting paid 5 times less than I was as an employee. I didn't have any capital to start the business. It was a bootstrap business. I had £100. £100 was what I started the agency with. I bought a domain name for £15. I bought some business cards for £50, and then the remaining was my float or something like that. So you're gonna work a lot, long hours, more hours than you think you're going to work. Don't let this lifestyle or freedom, flexibility, blah, 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 before you can get to that level, you're going to have to put some serious grit in, like you said earlier, in order to get there. There are times that certain holidays you might not be able to go to. Some holidays that you go to, you're working half of the holiday while trying to enjoy the other half of the holiday. You've got stress left, right, and center. when you get to a stage where you're recruiting people and you have employees, well, guess what? That's even more responsibilities on your shoulders, because now indirectly you're responsible for their family and their livelihood. This business that you're trying to build, that you're trying to grow, that's what's funding their life. That's what's helping them pay their bills. So you've got to make sure you're able to withhold all of this pressure and you have the ability to continue going, so that you can make it successful. Now, that's some of the rough parts of entrepreneurship. If you are wired that way, you hear all of that and you go, yeah, that's okay, I can handle that. Then guess what? You've got a massive chance of making it a success, because you will go through whatever needs to be gone through in order to come out on the other end successful and happy. That's why I said you have to be seriously self-aware. It is not for everybody. Half of those things is enough to crumble most people. And there's no shame in that. There is no shame in that. Like you said, a lot of people are glorifying entrepreneurship. People need to be more realistic about entrepreneurship. 80% of business owners fail. That's the reality. So unless you're really wired that way, it's in your blood, it's in your DNA. You have this great idea. You have this relentless nature about you to weather the storm and to make it successful, then you probably shouldn't get into it.
Yeah, I love that. That resonates with me so much. And how I like to describe it is that no matter how crazy the day is, you're not sleeping much. I mean, all the things, right? I don't need to tell you about it, but you're genuinely excited to wake up in the morning.
Yeah.
Like that stress converts for me into energy.
Yes.
And so it doesn't feel like when I hear you, I'm like, it's exciting, right? It's crazy, but like, let's do it. So yeah, that's, I think that's something that people need to hear though, right? Because it's so hard not to see through, these posts of like, I made 50K in a day there's a lot more to it. There's a lot more to it. Yeah. So anyways, I wanted to, every episode that we have, it ends the same way. And it's really a really core piece of advice around you. So the thing that nobody told me, but once I figured it out was...
The things that nobody...
Sorry, let me repeat that. JP, I'm repeating it. We end every show the same way. The thing that nobody told me, but changed everything for me once I figured it out was blank.
So the thing that nobody told me, but once I figured it out, was no one's coming to save you. No one's going to hold your hand. Most people don't want to see you succeed. Most people don't even think about you the way you think people are thinking about you. Most people are too busy in their own world, trying to live their own life. The cost of success is partly embarrassment. Once I figured out all of this stuff, the first thing it gave me was freedom. Because then you're not shackling yourself with, oh, how are people going to perceive me? How is this going to happen? What's going to happen to this? What's going to happen to that? It gave me that freedom, and then it gave me a sense of liberation that I can go be myself. The cliche question people ask me is, what advice would you give your younger self? And from this question that you just asked me, that's where the advice came from. It's like, when I was younger, it was more pretend confidence, masking it, trying to do what I'm trying to do. However, as I progress in my journey, it's more authentic confidence, because it's like, I actually don't care what you think about me. I actually don't care whether you like me or you don't like me. I actually don't care X, Y, and Z, because I know in my heart I'm trying to do the right thing. I know in my heart my capabilities. I know in my heart I am called to do this. I wouldn't be doing anything else other than this. Even if I had all the money in the bank, or if I was debt poor, I would still be doing the same thing. Therefore, my job is just to keep going along that journey, keep going along that path to make my dreams happen, to accomplish the mission and the vision that I've set myself. And when I realized that, it was absolutely free. And yeah, I've been able to continue along the journey, This year we turned 9. So we're now,
Wow.
next year we're going to turn 10 as an organization. 80% of businesses don't make it past their first 5 years. Out of the 20% that do, another 80% of them don't make it past their next 5 years. So then, as you can imagine, that 10-year mark is a big milestone that I'm chasing, and then see what goes on the other side of that. But yeah, it's absolutely freedom. When you realize those two things, it should give you freedom, and then it should give you boost to go, do you know what? Let's just do it. Because at the end of the day, you're the one that's going to be able to live with you when you're old and gray and go, did I live the life that I want to live? And if that answer is yes, nothing else matters.
You are absolutely inspiring. Thank you so much for your energy and your lessons that you've shared. For those that want to connect with you, that want to work with SOS, tell me how we could find you.
I'm on LinkedIn and I'm on Instagram. So those are my two most important platforms. So if you type my name in, Stephen Solademi, Solademi, put it on LinkedIn, put it on Instagram, you will find me. When in doubt, do a Google search for Mr. SOS, the SEO guy. You will also find me. Those are the best ways to get in contact with me. And yeah, I look forward to speaking with a few people.
I should have introduced you as Mr. SOS. I know that you were that, but
It's a nickname that's
it's really
over the years.
good.
Yeah.
It's SOS. When you have a problem, who do you call?
This guy.
Mr. SOS. I love it. Well, thank you so much, Stephen. I appreciate everything that you shared with us. And I'm sure there are going to be folks that are interested in connecting with you, whether it's some professional advice, whether it's with your marketing agency itself. I know within my world, I will be needing you soon. So thank you so much and have a great rest of your day. We'll be in touch.
Thanks for having me on. This has been quite fun.